Hello, parrots. How are you? I'm good. I hope that you're all well and keeping safe and being kind and helpful at home. It doesn't hurt to carry a plate out to the kitchen if you've been asked, or even if you haven't. It will be very helpful. Ibi was wondering, Ibi Alima has been wondering whether any of you have done any of the activities. If you've done some of the craft work, if you've made any of those bottles or any of those things, do send us a photograph if you have some. That would be really nice to see them. Ibi's hoping that you are all doing everything that's been asked of you at home. And I must say, I've been very pleased to hear that most of you have been really, really good and helpful. So Ibby and I went for a walk yesterday. We went out, we didn't go very far, but we went out for a little wander. And when we came back, I decided to call into the shed in my garden because I thought I've got something in there that's quite fun to play with. So I went in the shed and I remembered I had a bottle of bubble mixture. Now it's quite old, so I don't know if it works, but I thought it would be fun to see if it does. So you could make some bubble mixture at home. You need washing up liquid and water. It doesn't always work though, I have to warn you. So let's see if these work. Ready? Oh, they do. Maybe we can catch them. There we are. It's fun playing with bubbles. If you've got one of these, it's quite fun to get the liquid on the bubble wand and then run along with it because all the bubbles come streaming out behind. Now, I've got a story about bubbles to read to you today. So let's go. It's called John and the Giant Bubble. One day, John was feeling quite bored. He'd finished making his Lego model. He'd painted everything that he wanted to paint. He'd made mud pies and he'd grown tired of jumping on his trampoline. As he sat there, his eyes felt heavy and he began to suddenly, he was standing in a field watching bubbles floating around in the air. As he watched, he was amazed at how big they were. One of the bubbles was so huge it floated all the way up into the air, wriggling and changing form as it lazily climbed higher into the sky. John watched it float away, closed his eyes, and thought, I wish I was a bubble. Suddenly, he felt very funny and light. Wow! He was floating in the sky like a bubble. He looked down and saw a red fire engine racing down the street below him. He heard the wailing noise of the siren as it headed towards the fire. John knew that if he went towards the fire, it would make him go pop. He was so busy looking at the fire engine, he wasn't watching where he was floating, and he didn't see the building he was about to hit. But just as he was about to go pop, a man opened a window, and John flew right through the window out the other side of the building through another open window. That was a close one, John thought. He looked down and saw he was above a fairground. Oh, look, all the rides. He could hear the merry-go-round music. He could see it spinning around. I wish I was on it. Oh, that looks good. He saw a girl eating cotton candy, which is really another way of saying candy floss. He wished he could have a bite of the fluffy, fluffy spun sugar. He saw some children carrying stuffed animals, just like Ibby. They must have won a game. He saw colourful balloons. The wind carried him further away. He passed over some flower gardens. Oh, daffodils are pretty, he thought. Never noticed them before. How lovely, and primrose, they're lovely yellows. He floated past a tall tree. He could see a nest in the branches with a robin sitting near it. There were several blue little eggs, speckled eggs inside the nest. The bird flapped its wings. Oh, don't pop me, John said. He was afraid the robin might pop her beak into him. But she just sat still and watched as he floated away. The next thing John saw was a farm. He floated over a big red barn. Look at the black and white cows grazing in a field. There's a flock of sheep huddled down there. Look, they look like a fluffy white cloud. There's some fat pink pigs, a green tractor. Oh, I like farms, John said. Ahead, John saw a tall building. He watched for an open window and headed towards it. He found himself in a bathroom where a bath was being run with lots and lots of bubbles. The little boy was standing at the door watching the bath being run. The air was filled with bubbles. Oof, is that what I look like? Thought John, looking at the bubbles. The bubbles suddenly began to pop all around him. Pop, 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 pop. And the little boy just looked at John and went, pop. John woke up with a jump. Hi there, sleepyhead, his mum said. Ready to get up? It's a beautiful day out there. Why don't we go to the fair? John realised he must have been dreaming about being a bubble. He laughed and jumped out of bed. I would love to go to the fair, Mum, he said. He saw his bottle of bubbles sitting on top of the drawers, and he laughed as he got ready for a fun day at the fair. And that's the end of the story. So John had some bubbles like this sitting on his drawers as well in his bedroom. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.